So how did BTS become this global phenomenon? I mean, it's more than just music, right? It's like a masterclass in building an empire from the ground up. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and really deconstruct the anatomy of their success, piece by piece. Okay, let's just start with a number that kind of puts everything into perspective. 0.3%. What is that? Well, that's the estimated slice BTS contributes to South Korea's entire economy. I'm not kidding. That's the kind of economic punch you'd expect from like 26 mid-sized companies combined, all from just 7 guys. The scale is just staggering. And that's what makes their story so wild, right? Because nothing, and I mean nothing about this was a sure thing. When they started out, the odds were completely stacked against them. So the real question is, how on earth did this happen? And when I say the deck was stacked against them, I mean it was seriously stacked. They weren't from one of the big 3 entertainment giants, so no built-in industry power there. They didn't have some crazy viral hit like Gangnam Style to just explode onto the scene. Nope, they actually debuted when another group, EXO, was at the absolute peak of their popularity. And on top of all that, they weren't the guys you saw on all the big TV shows. By every traditional measure, they should have just faded into the background. So, where did it all begin? Well, it started with the one thing they had complete control over, their music. This became the authentic foundation, the absolute core of everything that was to come. You know, most pop songs, they're about love, right? Breakups, getting together, the usual stuff. But BTS, they went a totally different way. Their lyrics got into the real, messy parts of being young. The crazy pressure from society, the stress of school, all the anxiety about what your future holds. They were pulling ideas from philosophy, from psychology. I mean, this was music with a kind of depth that you just didn't find on the radio. And what's really cool is that their music grew up with their fans. It wasn't static. They started out talking about the pressures of school and critiquing the system. Then they moved into all those intense, turbulent teenage feelings. And from there, they got even deeper, bravely talking about mental health and personal struggles. And it all led to this powerful message of self-love and acceptance. It was a journey, you know? And their fans felt like they were on that journey with them. And that vulnerability, that's what created this unbelievable connection. This quote from a fan really nails it. They willingly communicate their pain and struggles through their music and turn casual fans into fiercely devoted stans. See, by being so open, they made people feel understood. It stopped being just about listening to a song. It became this deep emotional thing. For a lot of people, this music was like a lifeline. So that authenticity, that realness, it leads us right into the next piece of the puzzle. Remember all those disadvantages they had at the start? Not being on TV, not having big media connections? Well, they were about to flip the script and turn those weaknesses into their biggest strength. Think about it like this. The traditional K-pop playbook relied on gatekeepers. You needed mainstream media, you needed to get on those big scripted TV shows. But BTS, they just built their own playbook. Instead of waiting for a magazine feature, they were talking directly to fans on Twitter. Instead of those polished variety shows, they were dropping these unfiltered behind-the-scenes clips called Bangtan Bombs and doing personal live vlogs. They completely bypassed the old system. And the impact of this was just revolutionary. It completely tore down the wall between the idols and the fans. This wasn't some perfectly polished product being handed down from on high. It felt real. It felt like you were part of the journey with them. You weren't just a spectator watching them get famous. You felt like you were right there, helping make it happen. And that feeling of being part of it all, that brings us to the absolute engine that powered their global takeover, their fandom, army. And honestly, just calling them fans doesn't even begin to cover it. So ARMY stands for Adorable Representative MC for Youth, but it's so much more than a fan club. You have to think of ARMY as an active partner. They're like a massive global volunteer army of promoters, translators, and advocates. They are organized, they are motivated, and they work in lockstep with the group to push their success forward. Okay, if you want to see just how powerful this fan engine is, get a load of this. In a single year, BTS got 407 million mentions on Twitter. Now, to give you some context, in that same period, the sitting president of the United States got 104 million. They were mentioned almost 4 times more. That is the incredible, undeniable power of a mobilized global fandom. It's just off the charts. Yeah, this quote just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? Who needs publicists when you have ARMY? I mean, why would you hire a PR firm when you have millions of people all over the world working 24/7, promoting you out of pure passion? So when you put it all together, the authentic music, that direct connection with fans, and this incredible fan partnership, what you get is something way bigger than a music group. You get a new kind of global force. And their impact is huge across the board. You've got the economic impact, which we talked about, that stunning $3.6 billion for South Korea. Then there's the diplomatic angle. They've become this huge instrument of cultural diplomacy or soft power for the country. And of course, culturally, they're just a massive driver of global exchange, bringing people together from all over. And this isn't just talk, this is real-world stuff. We're talking about speaking at the United Nations General Assembly, partnering with UNICEF on their Love Myself campaign that's raised over $1 million. They are literally a major reason why people travel to South Korea. This is tangible, global influence. So what this all adds up to is a new model, a new blueprint for what success looks like in the 21st century. It proves that if you start with authentic art, you build a real, direct connection with your audience, and you treat your fans like partners, you can create a kind of influence that just blows past all the old gatekeepers of power. And at the end of the day, it all comes back to this feeling. This quote from a fan says everything you need to know. With other celebrities, it feels like they're hovering above us. But with BTS, we're walking side by side. It was never about them being untouchable stars on a pedestal. It was always about that shared experience, that feeling of walking the same path together. That's the connection. That's what changed the game. Which leaves us with one last question. In a world that's so full of manufactured fame and digital noise, did this group of underdogs, with their unique mix of authenticity, connection, and partnership, actually write a completely new rulebook for what it even means to be a global star?